know that this road has been very hard.
What's going on in that head of yours?
Something little B said it.
Dominic Toretto, you're about to learn all about fear.
He said, Dad, you're not afraid of anything. But I am. I'm afraid of losing someone I love.
Boom! You built such a beautiful life, filled with love and family. I never got that chance. My family, you stole that from me. My future, I'm gonna break yours. Piece by piece.
He's coming for you with everything. One of us might not come back from this.
What's the plan, Dom?
I'm not sure anymore.
But we have to fight.
Never accept death.
Armed and dangerous. Ain't too many can bang with us. Label us notorious.
When suffering is owed.
It's a setup.
He's trying to tear us apart.
Our situation is type 1. What you gonna do? Fight or run?
Winning used to be about winning.
That's the problem with having such a big family. How do you choose the ones you save?
We raced for respect. Today, I raced to stop a bloodbath.
Let's race.
It's showtime. Here we go.
Game recognizes game.
Ain't too many can bang with us. Label us
You still know how to drive? What do you think?
I'm coming for you, son.
Here they come.
You will never be able to break my family.
Good morning, sunshine.
Welcome back, everyone. They dropped the Fast and Furious 10 trailer, Fast X, so a bunch of Easter eggs and references going all the way back to the first movie, so we'll break it all down, see how many times they're able to say family in the movie. If you're brand new to the channel, there's a whole bunch of Super Bowl trailers coming this weekend. Of course, I'll do videos for everything. Be sure to subscribe to get them all. The whole idea in this movie is that it's not actually the last movie. It's meant to be the beginning of the end of the road, as they say in the trailer. They're actually pulling an Avengers Infinity War and an Avengers Endgame. Originally, it was going to be the last movie, but then they split it into two different movies. So technically, there'll be 11 in the mainline continuity. Obviously, you have the Hobbs and Shaw spinoffs, but I don't think they're going to be doing those movies anymore. Pretty sure Vin Diesel and The Rock are not on speaking terms anymore. During this movie, though, as you can see in the trailer, Jason Momoa is meant to be the main villain. He's playing a character called Dante. He's meant to be the son of the drug kingpin from Fast 5, who they robbed all the money from in that big action scene, as you see in the trailers. A lot of the trailer either references or directly shows moments from the previous movies, so it's like they want to say that the Dante character has been orchestrating things from behind the scenes, pulling strings from behind the scenes for the last 4 movies or so after he recovered. It sounds like what happened is that during that big bridge escape scene, Dom and Brian almost wound up killing him. He barely survived and then swore his revenge, using his father's money to orchestrate this grand revenge plan, eventually kidnapping his son, little Brian, that he had with Elena. And as he says in the trailer, that's one of the things he's most afraid of. I'm most afraid of things happening to my family. Pretty much everybody, as you see in the trailer, is back from the previous movies, including Charlize Theron's Cipher villain, and there are a few new characters as well. Like I said, because this is meant to be the beginning of the end, like the last 2 movies, or one movie split into 2 different movies, a lot of it is meant to wrap up storylines that they haven't paid off since the first movie and reference things from every single movie. Same thing they did with Marvel Phase 1, Phase 2, and Phase 3 in Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. But because of the arc of a lot of Fast and Furious movies, I would not be surprised if Jason Momoa's character winds up turning good at the end of the movie, because it's kind of the theme with most of the villains, with the exception of Charlize Theron's character. She's been one of the few characters who has been straight up villain in pretty much all the movies she's been in. Although, to make another Marvel joke, Vin Diesel did joke about having Robert Downey Jr. star in the next movie, like the actual final movie, as the anti-Dom. And he'd be a character hyping up all this driverless technology, and it'd be like the opposite of what Dom would want. Pretty sure Robert Downey Jr. not going to sign up for Fast and Furious movie, but it is funny to think about that. Just starting at the beginning of the trailer footage, the first big thing here is that Rita Moreno is going to be playing their grandmother. Typically in these movies, they try to cast the biggest person you can think of to be either their mothers or their grandmothers. Getting someone like Helen Mirren to play Shaw's mother is a good example of that. This is Letty's Chevy from the previous movies. There's a bunch of their cars from the previous movies all across the trailer. This picture is actually taken from Fast 4, like the fourth movie that was sort of the reboot of the franchise, and that's Brian's WRX in the background. We see a much older version of little Brian. He's still very, very little. The funny thing about Elena is they actually developed her as a love interest for Vin Diesel when Letty wasn't going to be a part of the franchise. Then whatever problems they had behind the scenes, they worked those out, then brought her back to the movies, so that's why they probably killed Elena off. You actually see footage that goes back to the second movie, Too Fast, Too Furious. That's what I say when I mean that they're referencing things from all the previous movies, even though it sounds like Dante didn't know them until the fifth movie. You see him on a flat-track Harley going to get revenge on one of the crew members planting a bomb on one of their cars. This scene of the other motorcycle riding by him is Letty. She looks like she gets into a wreck. Roman comes back, meets with Tej, and flirts with Ramsey. Rio is where the fifth movie took place, where he's supposed to have met Jason Momoa's character for the first time. This looks like it's from the fifth movie, right after they stole the safe. He says, "You stole that from me, my future, my family," as they literally stole the money and wound up leading to his father's death, even though his father was a drug kingpin doing really terrible stuff. Not sure where he is in this scene, it just looks like he's with his crew, plotting some more of his revenge plan. It seems like there's a lot of tech here, so he might have some connection with Cipher's villain character, because if he really has been behind the scenes orchestrating things for the past couple of movies, he would have to have been connected to Cipher in some way. He might have just been bankrolling a lot of her plan. We meet Brie Larson's Tess character. It seems like she has some pre-existing relationship with Dom, and it seems like she's trying to help them, but in another scene, she's wearing the suit, she's all buttoned down, different haircut. One of them might be a flashback scene. She could be working against the crew at some point. There's a lot of scenes where it's hard to tell if it's a flashback and they're trying to recontextualize events of previous movies, or if it's in present day and they've switched sides. It looks like Jason Momoa's crew breaks into Dom's house and orchestrates this big kidnapping, and that's how they get little Brian. John Cena comes back as Jacob Toretto, his younger brother. He's one of the good characters now, like he turned sides at the end of the last movie. This is a scene of Han driving a new car, an Alfa GT4, which is a European car. Even after he came back in the previous movies, he still drove some of his previous cars for a while. Speaking of justice for Han, they actually pay off the moment. They kind of teased that in the previous movie. We get another moment with Shaw and Han reuniting with each other. But since their previous run into the third movie, Shaw has turned good, and now they sort of have to reckon with that, and Shaw is trying to atone for a lot of the crazy stuff that he did. It sounds like they'll throw down a little bit, and then they'll eventually make peace, like they'll be cool with it by the end. There's a couple different street races. I can't tell if these are all from the same scenes or some of these are meant to be flashbacks, because you have Dom and the crew racing against Jason Momoa's Dante character and some of his crew, and it sounds like that might happen in a couple of these different movies, like they're recontextualizing their run-ins in previous films. There's a couple big bridge fight scenes too. I think these bigger bridge fights are a reference back to Fast and Furious 6. And then whatever's going on in this laboratory, this medical facility here, Charlize Theron's Cipher character comes back and throws down with Letty. Like I said, the arc of all Fast and Furious villains are that at some point they join the crew, like they all turn good and join the crew, so we'll see what happens with her Cipher character. I don't know if they want to use her as like the ultimate big bad for all the movies, or if she will turn good in the final movie. Either way, cannot wait to see Jason Momoa throw down with Vin Diesel, them just go at each other. The way that Jason Momoa talked about his character, he's meant to be like the anti-Dom, like totally over the top, super flamboyant, as opposed to Dom, who's way more reserved and quiet. During the trailer, you see a couple moments where he's kind of throwing that in his face, like look at the way that Jason Momoa is dressed, like how much over the top could you get here? This is the campiest thing ever. If you spotted any other Easter eggs or references to the previous Fast and Furious movies in the trailer that I didn't talk about in the video, just write them below in the comments. There'll be a whole bunch more footage for this before the movie comes out in May. We got a bunch more Super Bowl trailers. I'll do videos for everything. Make sure you have alerts enabled for my channel so you don't miss those. I think the next big one will be the Flash trailer, and then after that will be a couple big Marvel trailers. I'll try to post everything as quickly as possible. It'll probably take me the next couple of days to get through everything. Everyone click here for the new Flash trailer. I'll update the link as soon as I finish posting that. And click here for my new Loki Season 2 trailer video. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks to Vin